Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports.
Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports with Tyler Drake and Lauren Koval.
Welcome back into another edition of Cardinals Corner. I know we've been away for a little bit, but we're back. I'm Tyler Drake. That's Lauren Koval. We're here. And I think we can officially say we're in the slow times of the NFL, except if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and Miami Dolphins. Outside of that, slow roll. This is the true offseason, in my opinion. This last little stretch before training camp. So in this dead time, I guess first, how are we doing?
Yeah,
I should get to that first.
Let's lead with that. During this dead time, how are you doing? I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. You know, we have our attention here at every sport possible in the Valley. So a lot of Sun stuff going on. You can go look at that at arizonasports.com. Check out our guys, Empire of the Suns, Kevin and Kellen. Looking at the Cardinals, a couple people have reached out to us and asked, hey, we'd like to see a record prediction again. I was not here the time that you and Damon did it because it's taking care of a kid.
Yep, you were in dad duty. Yep.
So we're definitely going to look into that. We also got the 53-man roster prediction that we will get into probably next week. Very early, before training camp. I'm just going to put it out there now. Grain of salt. Don't butcher us for it. But I think we need to hit roster predictions. Kimi and K2, thank you guys for hitting us up with the questions and asking us to dive into this. So let's get into it. So you've done this a couple times, not only here, but on Burns and Gambo as well. You've been in the 7-8 win range?
I've been consistently right around 8 and 9 for them.
Okay. But we're a little bit farther in the offseason. Maybe your mind's changed a little bit.
Maybe I've adapted.
Maybe you've adapted. Maybe you've evolved. You filled that bucket.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
The adaptability
JG
bucket.
hopes so.
Yep. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's start it off. Week 1, New Orleans. In New Orleans.
I think we have a clear picture of who the starting quarterback for the Saints is going to be.
Okay.
Already. That being said.
Not Derek Carr.
No. Hey, it's not going to be Derek Carr. That being said, I don't really think it matters who the quarterback for the Saints is because I think the Cardinals are going to win that one no matter what.
That's a great way to put it. So when the schedule first came out, I put together projected win totals, all of that good stuff. So New Orleans Saints, 6.5 wins. You think they're going over under that? I don't see them winning 7 games.
No, that division has a lot of question marks. Normally it's weaker than the other ones in the NFL over the past few years. That being said, they're not going to win their division or come close to doing so.
I wouldn't think so.
No, also their draft was slightly underwhelming.
Yep.
So I see that there
was a local kid though, quarterback.
Yes.
Kylie Shook.
And that's
great name.
And that's probably who I think the Cardinals will end up facing.
I think
in
so
week
too.
1.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, I am going to give it. Yeah, I mean it's time to go. Kelvin Beachum sat here with us and told us it's go time. You can't beat a team like this that is clearly not in a position to make a case for the playoffs, in my opinion. Starts there. You've got to win, and you've got to win handedly. You've got to show everybody right away that this is the new, and not new, but this is the continued evolution of what this team can be, especially on the defensive side. The defense has to set the tone.
And there's no expectations. It's the first game of the year. You have no idea what any of these teams are truly going to look like. So you don't have the weight of the Cardinals, you know, at the midway point last year going, wow, we're better than everybody expected we were going to be, and now we need to prove it. That doesn't exist.
Yep.
This is a new season. This is a new slate. I mean, Cardinals fans, I think their expectations are higher than ever for this upcoming season. Partially because of this schedule that we're going to run through.
Yep.
But because of that, I think you've got to start with a week 1 victory.
All right. Okay. So 1-0. Looking good. Moving on to Carolina at home. I think it's exactly what we said about New Orleans is exactly how I feel about Carolina. You can't have this. You cannot play to the level of Carolina.
And I think to your point is that how you need to shape the season looking at that Saints victory and how, yes, this is a new slate. This is one of the games that I hope isn't necessarily under that new slate category. And by that, I mean, I hope that the Cardinals remember what happened last year in Carolina.
Yeah.
And they use that as fuel for week 2.
Yep. I think that's definitely the big one there because that's the first thing that I thought of is last year. Make it a 40-point blowout because of what happened last year.
And almost sort of the catalyst,
Especially the situation they were in, too.
Yes.
That's the problem.
And all the expectations of, hey, the Cardinals don't play well in Carolina. They notoriously don't play well on the road there. Why don't you go out there and beat them? Because you've proven that you're a better team than we thought you were. And that was kind of the, oh no, is this unraveling?
Yep.
Oh no, is this not what we thought it was going to be for the rest of the season?
Are they not ahead of schedule?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. So with that, it's a win.
It's a win for me
It's
too.
a win. You can't do what you did this offseason, talk the talk you guys have had, and not have another dominant showing too. Like it just can't be a win. I think we need to be now in the point of wins are nice, and yeah, it's a big jump from not being 500 last year, but it's this roster is revamped to the point where it's expected.
A dominant victory week 2, you think?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right. First divisional matchup, which back-to-back divisional matchups on a short week too. First in San Francisco before a Thursday night matchup against Seattle, which, oh boy, Seattle.
Oh boy, Seattle is a perfect summary of that. I think they will go 1-1 on that divisional stretch.
Who are they losing to?
It's Niners on the road and Seattle at home. There's a question. Sorry.
Yeah, Cards play Seattle at home. Like in Arizona, sorry. that was very confusing.
I was like, I knew what you meant. That deep sigh was not at, wow, Tyler, I just asked you a question and you didn't answer it at all. No, I think it's a loss to the Niners, a victory against the Seahawks.
Okay. I'm going to go with a win against San Francisco, and here's why. Because there has been so much turnover for that team, and yes, they still have a lot of good pieces, especially on the offensive side. I think they're still working things. I think they're going to be still knocking rust off or figuring some things out on the defensive end. So I'm going to lean towards, I think it's going to be close, but I'm leaning towards a Cardinals win here. And I think that really is you start 3-0, you're rolling. You're rolling. The Seattle game is, I don't want to say they're going to lose that game, but I don't feel as confident as I do against the Niners for some reason.
I think originally when Damon and I did this prediction, I had it switched.
Okay.
I think I had them losing to Seattle and beating the Niners.
Okay.
Because I remember I have them almost consistently going 1-1, splitting every divisional matchup nearly.
Okay.
And because of that sort of is living in the back of my head there. But I agree with you about the Niners and the rust thing, but also I think the Niners are such a hard team to predict what the heck they're actually going to be like.
Yep.
Because they still
they still project to win like 11 games.
Yeah, and they still have
easy schedule.
A ton of that fundamental core that made them successful over the past few years.
Yeah.
And that is still sticking around. I agree with you about the Seahawks. The deep sigh that I had earlier was, what the heck are the Seahawks? And it feels like everybody thinks that they're going to be crap. Like that's where we're sort of leaning towards. I don't know why. I don't believe that.
Okay. You're going to make a lot of the Seattle fans that somehow find our podcast very happy.
Yeah. Seattle fans, this is a PSA. I don't think you're going to be crap this year. I apologize to all Cardinals fans, too.
Oh, boy.
I just don't know what to expect from this team. And like you said, week 3, week 4, that's a tough. You're still finding
stretch.
out.
Yeah, and it's a tough stretch there, too, because they go from Sunday to Thursday. I'm just going to go and say I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to say, 4-0, starting off.
Okay, you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
I think I might be right now.
Yeah,
because
we're only at week 4 and you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Analyzing the Kool-Aid. Not drinking it, but seeing the ingredients that were added in there. A little bit of sweat, not like that, but some sweat in there, some Tomlinson, some Calais, mix it all up there. Kool-Aid man's got to be happy.
Okay.
All right, so we're moving on to Tennessee. Cam Ward, another one of those defense better be the asset, not the liability that they have gone to work this offseason to fix. So that's a win for me.
I think this is a win for me, too. Tennessee is one of those teams that I'm kind of happy that you face early in the season because hopefully Cam Ward hasn't really figured out those rookie struggles that everybody goes through. And Tennessee, for the past few years, truly, since like the Ryan Tannehill era started to sort of go on that downslide, hasn't really figured out what they're doing as a team and like where are their gaps and where do we need to plug. I feel like they don't really know. They're the team that you look at on a schedule and you go, yeah, they might be able to upset you if they have a good week.
They got like perfect.
Yeah, but like that happens maybe once or twice a year for Tennessee.
Yep. I'm going to call it now. 2 picks for Garrett Williams that day.
Okay. Wow. An in-game prediction. All right. I like it.
Garrett Williams taking 2.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it could happen. Cam Ward likes to sling that freaking football.
And I think Garrett could get in his head pretty good.
Yeah. Agreed. And it's not like the Tennessee Titans wide receivers are in this elite class of their own where I sort of feel like they can fight against the Cardinals corners out there, but we'll see.
Yep. We will see. Okay. Moving over to Indy. In Indy. What are we thinking?
Okay, I know that originally I had this as the Cardinals always lose a game in the season they shouldn't lose.
Okay.
And I had this as that game.
Okay.
I gotta say, Anthony Richardson's shoulder is bringing me pause on that. I know, and Flacco consistently still good. How the guy is still in the league, I don't understand.
Yeah, I still can't believe that.
Also, putting together decent to good football games.
Yeah, I mean, and like Flacco's with the Browns, but like just the fact that like he's still doing something.
Yeah.
And like seeing him during like I remember joint practice last year, it was just like this dude is still doing things. Like,
yes. And he's not
he's not
costing anyone games.
No.
He's not making stupid errors that you're like, wow, if only they had. So originally, back to the Colts, I had this as the Cardinals lost, they shouldn't suffer. And that they were going to lose it. I might be pivoting now to a win, and only because
it might be Daniel Jones.
Yes. Yes. And then in that case, I hope you have 5 interceptions in that game because I don't like that. The Colts can be a really good team. Like, I feel like they're like the Cardinals of like 1 or 2 years ago. Like, we're almost there.
They could be, yes.
They could be. They thought Anthony Richardson's going to be this dynamic quarterback who's going to come in and he's going to take the NFL by storm. He's taken it by storm with a lot of different injuries. That's what he's done. So this is where I'm going to adapt.
Okay.
And I'm going to put that down as a Cardinals victory now.
Okay. Right now, I am 6-0 and you are 5-1. So maybe you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
No. What?
All right. Maybe we'll get some change here. Green Bay, week 7.
That's a loss. That's
at home?
Yes.
I'm going to go loss too.
Okay, so what week is it? It's week 7?
Week 7.
And this is the Cardinals' first loss for Tyler.
Yep.
Okay.
Expectations. It's not my fault the expectations are that high.
No, but you
look at the roster.
But you believe them.
Look at the roster.
Yeah.
On paper, that is a team that should be doing, especially with this first gauntlet, maybe one more loss in there. Maybe. But if they can't come out of the first 7, 5-2, I think you're looking at that as like, okay, you guys, like, this is not achieving what you guys set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get tougher as the weeks go on.
Yeah.
So that's the next thing. So, okay. We are at the bye week in week 8.
At a normal time.
Yes. And what happens after the bye week? Usually not good things.
No.
So what happens in the second half? Starts with Dallas. In Dallas, Monday Night Football. Will Johnson has it circled. It's one of his games. He's ready to go.
Yeah. It's also a place where Kyler Murray notoriously has a ton of success.
They're going to win by 20 points. Kyler's going to throw 4 touchdowns and run for 1.
I think they're going to win. And I think there's going to be a lot of, remember what happened last season? Mm-hmm. Now throw that out of your mind.
Yep.
You're a new team.
This is your prime time. This is your prime time, second prime time, big prime time game, Monday Night Football. This is your chance to really show the rest of the league, like, we are here. It's just not on paper.
Yeah.
We're legit.
You're playing America's team.
Yuck.
Yeah, the use of air quotes was heavy there by me. And so now Kyler's back. He's in a comfortable place. He's back in Texas. This
Dallas
team
should
is
not
different.
be America's team anymore.
No.
They haven't been for.
I could do a whole
since the
podcast
80s.
on that alone.
Or against the 90s.
Yeah. You could set me up with hi, here's how the Dallas Cowboys aren't America's team. I don't know who America's team is.
Well, that would be the other thing. Who would you pick? I couldn't do it.
That's the problem. Like, do you say that it's the Chiefs because everybody loves them, but does America now hate the Chiefs because they keep winning the Super Bowl and we're rooting against them? So then is it the Eagles?
Yeah, because they've been successful.
Yeah. Do you have to be successful to be America's team?
Clearly not if you're because you're the Cowboys.
You know what? Touche, Tyler. There you go.
All right. It's always good to talk a little crap about the Cowboys.
Yep.
Okay. Week 10, Sunday in Seattle.
Lost.
This is where I think, man, for as much as I really don't trust what Seattle's done this offseason, there's just a lot of turnover there, especially at quarterback. It's Seattle and Arizona.
Yeah.
I think if I said every year that they were going to split without looking at the rosters, I'd probably be closer more times than not.
Yeah, I'm sure you would be because there's just a level of a fundamental base of it's really hard to win in Seattle and that place is nuts.
Yeah.
And
it'll be November.
So it'll probably be cold and you're outside and there's just this level of you're the Cardinals and you're the Seahawks and this is what you do. And even if, the team shouldn't win, if the Cardinals are really awful one year, the Seahawks are really awful, it always feels like, we can split.
Yep.
Or one team sneaks up to win a game they shouldn't.
Yep.
And I just feel like I'm gonna go a little chalk on this one and say this is a loss.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right there too. I think it's like I just said, split, move on.
I'm almost worried too that if they just destroy the Cowboys coming out of the bye week, that it's like, hey, we accomplished our goal. We didn't end up doing what happened last season. We didn't fall off after the bye week. That then it's like there's an energy pivot where like they're gonna fall off heading to Seattle, and that's just gonna be a loss.
You think Seattle can win 8 games? I don't.
No.
I think they could be right there, but
I think they're going to be right there.
It's I don't think I can say 8. I think it's 7. I don't think I can say 8 right now.
8 feels like it's just a little bit too much for them. A little bit too much. And how are they going to build around a new quarterback?
Exactly, and that's the thing.
Yeah, and that's the real question mark, because we thought with the Vikings last year, we were like, wow, look at what's happening.
But I think also I think we saw Darnold do what he did in Minnesota last year, and I think a lot of people said, can he do it again? That's the thing.
And then
for how long of his career has been, and for the ups and mostly downs that we've seen from him, like he balled out. No, like not trying to shade at all, but you got to back it up, especially now that you're in a new environment.
And I feel like following that playoff game here for him, that there was sort of you're looking at your TV screen going, yep, that's the Sam Darnold I know.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what he does in Seattle. But that being said, I still think that's a loss.
All right. San Francisco at home, or San Francisco and Arizona. Week 11.
There we go.
This back end of the schedule is a little tougher than when I initially looked at the schedule, and now looking back at it again, it's a little more hairier than I initially thought.
I thought it was hairy from the get-go, and then I felt like I was being gaslit. Because then you read like record predictions by everybody else, and they're like, hey, they'll figure it out. And I'm like, am I just like a horrible sports fan who constantly is like, my team is the worst, they're going to lose? I'm pessimistic, sure, but I was like, oof. But now as you read them off, I'm like, no, I feel justified. Like this is not easy. Coming off of a loss to Seattle at Seattle, you come home to face the Niners, who at this point in the season will definitely know who they are.
Yep,
and
they will.
Has Shanahan figured out how to make the new form of this team work? I still think they split.
Does Robert Saleh get that defensive magic that he had previously with the Niners?
Yes, I think he does.
I'm thinking split too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking split too. I think I have it a little backwards because I have them winning in San Francisco and losing in Arizona. But
yeah,
I also think I think they're just going to be. It's going to be. I think the division is going to be very interesting this year.
Yes.
I really, there's a lot of different ways. And I know like you could say that about any, like this one truly feels like the Niners could be a 12-win team or a 6-win team. Mm-hmm. The Seahawks could very well be a 7-win team, or they could shock the world and win 10 games because Darnold is doing what he's doing.
The Seahawks could be the team in this division that at the end of the year, when you're like looking around at the wild card or you're looking around at teams.
They're the sneaky team.
Yes, they're the sneaky team that makes it, or they're the sneaky team that screws another team over at the end of the year. You're like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to play Seattle because. They
play tough.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. Under that head coach, they play tough, and that is definite. And then you got LA. I think that's just a consistent, they're going to be there.
Yes.
They're going to be in the equation. And then you got the Cardinals, who, based on what they've done, it's going to be really interesting. It could be, NFC West could be back to the division that we used to see years ago, when it was like every single team could be a playoff team and come out swinging.
And I'm not even sure if I think that every team in that division is going to be a playoff team in sort of that way. I almost think it's going to be like cannibalism. Like who is coming out of this?
Yeah.
Every game is sort of, we're going to be looking at the standings. All right, the Niners have jumped the Seahawks. The Seahawks are back up. The Rams have fallen. So how many games out is everybody? One of those kind of situations this year.
I think so too. All right, week 12, Jacksonville. Going to go take on former Cardinals Derek LeBlanc, Spencer Whipple, Dennis Gardeck.
Yeah.
I think there were one or two more guys over there too. Mm-hmm. I don't really know how to feel about Jacksonville.
I don't either, because I thought that Jacksonville, like 3-4 years ago, Trevor Lawrence, like right around his rookie year in year 2, I was like, oh, they look like this might be working out for them.
Yeah.
You know, they might be figuring this out. And they haven't. And I'm not even really sure that it's Trevor Lawrence's fault to blame. I mean, his touchdown to interception rate is nuts. But I don't know what I actually think of them as a team.
Yep.
This is a consistent thing almost every year for the Jags, where I look at their record at the end of the year and I'm like, yeah, that works.
I mean, I think the big name to watch when it comes to Jacksonville is, outside of Travis Hunter, is Brian Thomas. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah,
that dude is another level. Like he might have been my favorite rookie wideout to watch last year, just because of the way that they utilized him really well. So I'm really interested to see how he takes that next step. But I think this is one where, the back half right now, we both have them 1-3.
Yeah,
I think they get back on track with Jackson or against Jacksonville at home. Mm-hmm. And luckily they don't have to go, they don't have to travel, because it's back-to-back road or home games. So that's good too. I'm going win.
I'm going win too. I also think, to your point of Travis Hunter, this Cardinals schedule, just generally speaking, is exciting in terms of the rookie talent that you get to see this year. You're going up against Cam Ward. You're going up against Travis Hunter. Yep. There's a lot of new and exciting faces.
T-Mac.
That sort of shaped this year's NFL draft and will now shape, hey, instead of just staring at the Cardinals, I'm also going to be looking at, how does Travis Hunter look in that game? Yep. How does T-Mac perform for the Panthers? How do they utilize
Travis Hunter?
Yes.
That's the big one I'm going to be watching.
Because I thought start defense first and then pivot to offense. And then they came out and said, no, we're doing it the opposite.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, by that point in the season, depending where they're at in their record.
And injuries could dictate what he does too.
Yeah. I mean, is it just now he's out there? I mean, he was like, I want to play every single snap. How feasible is that in the NFL, dude? But if there's anybody who I think is crazy enough to try to be out there for every snap,
probably
it is him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're on to week 13 in Tampa Bay.
Loss.
Going's getting tough.
That's a loss.
Yep.
That's a loss.
Yep. I'm there too.
Playing in Tampa Bay is tough. The pirate ship and the fake cannonball sound effects.
I want to
really
see that.
overwhelming.
I want to see that in person though. I really do. I think that's I think more stadiums need to implement things like that.
Like gimmicky fun things.
I was about to say, I am all for some kind of gimmicky thing.
Yeah, like the Miami Marlins used to have the dolphins.
Well, yeah, that giant thing.
Yeah.
Whatever the heck you want, a statue that I think it's like outside the ballpark still. They took it out.
I know they took it out. I know they took it out.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, you got the pool at Chase Field.
Yeah.
That's a gimmicky thing. Mm-hmm. It's cool. You got the big Coke bottle in San Francisco with the mitt.
Yep.
Like, come on, let's go. You got the Brewers slide.
Oh, yeah, you do.
There's a lot of good stuff.
That Brewers slide really fast. I love watching.
I think the Cardinals should at least build a nest in the rafters, like a fake nest for Big Red.
Wow. Someone reach out to Tyler. He has the branding opportunity of a lifetime. That would
and then you could have him like zip line down in the pregame.
Yes.
Yeah. Cardinals. I got it.
Reach out to Tyler.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. And get Big Red some zip line training. No, I think the Tampa Bay game is a loss.
Yeah, I do too. Mike Evans, he's one of those guys that's beating Father Time. I expect him to be a problem. They've got really good running backs. Bucky Irving, I think, is going to take a step. Graham Barton, heard that name a lot.
Oof.
I think that was one of Wolf's favorite guys in that draft.
Yes.
I just think it's one of those. Oh, wait, you know who else is on that roster?
Yes, I do.
Who?
Oh, roster? No, I was going to say this is a Todd Bowles situation.
Oh, and a Hassan Reddick situation.
Yes. Yes.
So that's going to be interesting.
I also just think the Bucks are a little bit more physically bruising
than
the Cardinals.
And they've got I think they've got a lot of continuity.
They do. And this is a team that we saw have a lot of success winning a Super Bowl with Tom Brady at the helm. And were we all expecting Baker to go over there and have any level of success? Were we? Oh, I just referenced both of your children.
You did.
In one singular sentence.
That was great.
Shout out to you.
And no, I'm not a Bucks fan.
I think that might be. Are you picking the Cardinals to lose because you're a closeted Tampa Bay
That's exactly. You got
fan?
me. You got me.
Yeah.
Fire the cannons. No wonder why I like the cannons.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
That is really. I had somebody randomly come up to me and it was like at swim class, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, you got both the Bucks quarterbacks." And it took me a second of like, oh man, I do.
Like I do. Hi, here are my children.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this is a loss. I think that team's, like you said, continuity, consistency. They're old, they're mature, but don't like mistake them being old for them being like too old to play the game.
Vita Vea is a dog.
Yeah. Your child's next name.
Vita.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's perfect, Vita Drake. All right, now we're moving on to Week 14 against LA. I had a thought and I'm zigging a little bit on it.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say loss.
Okay.
Back-to-back losses, but no, you know what? I'm sticking with the loss.
Okay.
I'm going loss.
Is this in LA or in Arizona?
In Arizona.
I ask that and I still have my default answer. It's still a loss. It's still a loss. I think this is where...
The second half is not good.
I know, but I think that's kind of the point, is like everybody thinks that this Arizona Cardinals team is going to be better than they were last year. And that is the expectation. Mm-hmm. You've made changes. You've adapted in terms of figuring out where your weaknesses are on this team. And you've gone out and you've tried to fix them. Are there still some holes on this team that I think don't necessarily work, or I wish the rooms were a little bit better? Of course, but you can say that about almost every single football team. Mm-hmm. That being said, this is where you prove you aren't the Arizona Cardinals team of last year. we're doing this prediction and we're shaping them to be exactly the same team they were last year. But we keep talking about how much better and how improved they are and how they've really targeted in the draft and in free agency and how Marvin Harrison Jr. has put on weight and look at him and how this is going to make a change and everybody's as healthy as they can be and Kyler looks great. And all those things can be true. And we know all of those things and we've seen it firsthand, and we're still sitting here and giving them this record.
Yeah. Yeah.
So prove you're not that team.
Exactly. And you have to do it this year. You have to prove it.
That's exactly the point. I think that's exactly what this year is. You can sit at home and go, the Cardinals should win that game, win that game, win that game. They should have 11 wins this year. Absolutely, you could do that. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think part of that is the way these games shake out. Part of that is the inevitable injuries that happen. Part of that is what the heck happens in this division.
Yep.
And all of those things added together have me going, this second half of a season could mirror last year. And we could be sitting here going, what the F?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get down from my soapbox.
That was great. I loved it. That was great. You hit it all right there. That was exactly well said. And yeah, I think that's exactly like this. And I think that's kind of why I'm going back and forth so much is like you said, that you got to show that you're the team that's not this team anymore. Be the team that can be a contender. Don't be the team that can sneak into something.
Yeah.
Go grab it. Yeah. All right. Week 15, Houston. In Houston.
Loss.
Okay.
I think that Houston has a lot of losses. Tank Dell, is he ever going to play football again? Genuinely, I don't know. I don't know. They've added more wide receiver talent.
Christian Kirk.
Yes, we saw breakouts in even just their offensive strategy. What burst for them last year in terms of their level of success was their defense.
Yep.
It was not their offense. Their offense just suffered too many injuries that late in the season. It was too hard to pivot and figure out what they were doing. And it was putting too much pressure on CJ Stroud to try to make something happen behind that line. And they just weren't ready for that by the end of the year. The defense is what subtly started to slip throughout the year. And especially for D'Amico Ryans, like that's not the expectation. I don't think that's going to happen again. And because of that, I think they're going to lose to the Texans.
Okay.
Also, getting to CJ Stroud fundamentally, like physically getting to him, tough.
This will be one of those games where it's the spotlight's going to be on this pass rush.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something that we've talked about at this rate for what feels like a decade.
Yep. I'm not going to follow you there.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a win. I just think I need to see more out of CJ.
Okay.
I felt like I didn't see the same type of fire that I saw. Not fire, but ability that we saw as a rookie. I think struggled there in year 2. Had some stuff he was going through, but I mean, obviously losing a guy like Tank Dell too, but they still have Nico Collins. They still have some good pieces. I mean, they signed Nick Chubb to pair with, I mean, that could be a huge addition there.
I think that puts less pressure on CJ Stroud behind the line like he had at the end of last year to try to make something happen. I also think what I will be looking for in this Texans game is you've got Christian Kirk and Nico Collins lining up on the opposite side of the field. What is something that the Cardinals don't do that the Houston Texans do? Chuck the ball down the field.
Yep. They like to throw it.
They love to throw it, and they love to throw it for high impact yardage plays. Yep. And because of that, I could see it just being an absolute test for the Cardinals secondary.
Okay. Yeah. It's a good point. Yeah, I think it's going to be an offensive duel for sure. I think, and once again, I'm going in the Kyler Murray back in Texas.
Yeah.
That category. So I don't even know if he's played Houston yet.
Played the Texans?
No, I think he has.
Yeah,
he has.
He's been in the league long enough.
Yeah,
You'd have to cycle through.
Yeah. Let's see.
I say that. I don't know that.
1-1. He's 1-1 against them. Okay. Yep. 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Wow. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, he's got some work to do. Okay. Now we are going on to Week 16, Atlanta. The Fighting Bijans.
This This is the game that sort of makes me wish that I almost picked them to beat Houston. This, I think, is similar to the Colts game early in the year when I was like, they'll lose a game that they shouldn't. And the Falcons, I mean, it'll be Michael Penix Jr.
Yep.
And it'll be, what can he do in a true like rookie season for him in that way? The Falcons, they had a good draft. I wasn't upset about what they did there. There's still, some holes on it. There's some moving pieces there. It's figuring out what's going on. At this point, this late in the season, I think that it's a win for the Cardinals just because they can't go on that slide.
Okay. Yep. I agree. I'm going win too. I just think it's like a go off, middle of the schedule, struggle, figure it out towards the end. That's kind of, I think, where I'm getting at, right? Until I see the last two.
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't even talked about the second game against the Rams or the Bengals.
Yeah. I'm going win, though.
Against?
Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Houston, Atlanta, back-to-back dubs. You go into the final two games. I got them at, let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't know. A lot of wins, 5 losses.
Okay.
Okay, so what? 10, 11 and 5? I got my 11 and 5 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 5.
10 and 5. Okay.
I might have messed up there. Oh, no, because I forgot the bye. We're good.
Okay. It's a lot of mental math.
Okay, 10 and 5 because the bye week's involved too.
Okay.
Cincy.
That's a loss. That's a loss.
Yeah.
Cincy won't let what happened last year happen to them again.
Yep.
They're too fundamentally good for that. They've locked down the key pieces of that offense in a season where it's basically like, where will the Bengals come up with money? Don't worry, the Bengals will come up with money and we'll figure it out. They used the franchise tag well this year. Their biggest outstanding holdout is Hendrickson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is just what's happening there.
Yep.
Don't know. Does he just have to play to prove to everybody how high we already know his stock is?
That's the crazy
so that then
thing.
somebody plays. It is nuts. It's like one of the holdouts where you're like, no, everybody knows he's good. You're obviously just asking too much.
Yep.
Your asking price is too high.
Yep.
So does he have to come back and play with the Bengals just to prove, that's why my asking price is so high, is because I'm really good at this football thing. But I think that's a loss for the Cardinals.
Yep. I'm there too. I just, like you said, I think Cincy's going to be one of those teams that is got their hair on fire. Joe Burrow is going to be that dude. He looks like Anakin Skywalker already, so he's already getting ready for it.
No, bad hair.
You don't like the flow?
No, I don't like the flow.
Wow.
Sorry.
And I think Chase Brown could take a step too. The running back.
ILL.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. Big Chase Brown fan. Didn't know that.
I am a big Chase Brown fan.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you've got to look at it. You got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah. Who you figured out how to bring both of them back and make it work. I don't know how they did it. It feels like a perfect use of all the stuff that we talk about. Who are you going to franchise tag and who are you going to pay and how are you going to make it work? They were just like, no, we don't have any question marks. We're
solid.
We're going to pay. We're not going to make it an issue.
Okay. Final. Okay, so before we got to Cincy, you were 8-7.
Yeah.
Now you're 8-8.
Yeah.
Final game.
Yeah, which makes sense because I have them losing to the Rams and I have them at 8-9.
Okay. I'm zagging.
Zag, yes.
Because this was kind of what I was going through in my head is the week 14 game. I was like, okay, whatever they do there, we're going to do opposite for the season finale.
Yeah.
But I think originally I was like, okay, they're going to win that game and lose that last season finale because it's the second half of the season. That's what happens. I think this is one of those games where it's like, nope, we are going to end that narrative or at least try to end that narrative, end it on a good note and potentially be in the mix for a wild card or division. Because I believe I have them at 11-6.
Okay.
If I'm doing the math right. You talk while I add.
Okay. While you do math, I think the reason that I have them at 8-9 is because every reason that you think they'll win that last game of the year
Yeah.
is every reason I think they'll lose that last game of the year. And I think that's
going to be, I really think Cardinals fans are very split.
Yeah.
Because it's the second half you're going to be gun shy.
Yeah.
Especially if you start seeing 2 losses, a win, 2 losses, like,
it's going to be a roller coaster of a season in the sense of they could absolutely go on these weird runs throughout the entire season where they're winning 3, they're losing 2, they're winning 2, they're losing 4.
Yep.
Like it could be a roller coaster ride to get through. We could be sitting here, week 12 and be like, all right, they just lost 4 games in a row, but now somehow they've beat the Texans.
Exactly. Yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised with that at all. If that's what we're doing. And I think that's why I have them losing to the Rams. The Rams is the only team in the division that I have them losing both of their games against, which now makes, I think it's that further proof of like, what's the division doing? How much does this final game of the season mean to the Cardinals? I almost feel like if it means too much, I then think they'll lose. Like, is it just there's too much weight on their shoulders to perform well? Because that is just a signature move of the Cardinals over the past few years. And if they come out and they win that final game of the season, or even if they come out and win that game against the Bengals, like there's a level of change. Are we riding that high against the Bengals because we shouldn't have beat them, but we did? And then now can we channel that into a victory at the end of the season, look up and go, hey, we won our final 2 games of the season and we're in the wild card and we'll see you in the playoffs?
Yep.
Or is it we lost to the Bengals, we lost to the Rams, we couldn't figure it out again at the end of the year. Our division is eating each other alive.
Yep.
And now we're fighting for the wild card that last week. Are they fighting against the Rams too? Like, who knows?
Who knows? That's why I think it's one of those, there's going to be so much, however it shakes out, heading to that last game, there's going to be so much implications, I think. And it's like you mentioned earlier, maybe the Cardinals aren't in that playoff situation. They could go be a spoiler. I think if they're going to play spoiler at that point, we're probably heading towards some changes in the offseason.
Yeah.
So if we're to that point, expect some changes. But I'm thinking it is weird because I could easily take those 3 games back and be right where you're at because it's such an easy, especially in this back half, especially how it's set up, especially just the opponents.
And I could easily go, hey, the Niners are going to not be as good this year. There's too many changes. They're going to sweep the Niners. They're going to split with the Rams. Great, I just picked up 3 games.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's that simple. I think the question mark surrounding the division this year versus last year has added a more interesting dynamic to this entire schedule. And the fact that what I'll really be looking at is by the time that we sit down here during the bye week and give like our first half of the schedule recap, what is their record? Yeah.
How close is it to what I think many people are expecting to be a solid start to their season?
And then if it is, how scared are we for the second half?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Because I mean, after that Dallas game, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses the rest of the way. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. It's ugly. I know.
Oh, man.
I know.
I hope that's not the case because we're going to have some rough recaps if we're going roller coaster.
I also hope it's not the case. Like, is that right around where I think they could be? Yeah. Do I hope that they are? Absolutely not.
No.
God, I'd love to sit here and be like, they're the team that we think
that we all expected them to be.
And this is the year where, like, a lot of, I think, national media and Cardinals fans are going, hey, this is the prove it year, and they're going to prove that they're as good as we think they can be.
Yeah.
I'd love to sit here and say that. Yep. But until I see that start to happen during the season, I'm holding out.
Yeah, and really, once they've have that one of those losses in the second half, how do you respond? How do you bounce back? Because that's going to be everybody's, after that bye week, that first loss, everyone's going to be hyper focused on what they do.
And if it's Dallas, I'm taking that podcast off.
with with OC Clayton Adams.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Cardinals connections too. Players and coaches.
Yeah. There's a lot of, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces and you're going to see a lot of talented rookies.
Yep. All right. Well, 11-6. I think I was 10-7 in my very quick, couldn't tell you what I had because I was on paternity leave.
Yeah. You texted me and you were like, I think 10-7 is the floor.
Yeah. Yep. So 11-6. I'll stick with it because I think in my first initial, I had them losing that season. I had them losing both to the Rams. So now I'm splitting them.
Okay.
So for the most part, we're there. 8-9 for you.
I think I switched. I had them losing to the Colts and beating the Texans. Okay. So I think I've done a swap of those.
Same division too.
Yeah. Weird. All right.
Okay. Well, we gave you our record prediction. Let us know what you guys think on YouTube. You can hit us up on Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, T Draper Sports, Colville_Lauren. Show is at AZ Cards Corner. And yes, thanks for stopping by. Once again, we'll be back next week. And also, don't forget, we got pulling cards. It's been a great time. Definitely tune into that. See what we pull. It's always got to get a Cardinal, but every once in a while we don't.
Every once in a while, the luck slides out.
But maybe we got lucky this time around. So go check that out too. And as always, follow along Arizona Sports, ArizonaSports.com, 98.7 for all your coverage of Cardinals and all the other sports in the Valley. Until next week, we'll see you later.